Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon. We have about 8 minutes yet until 2 o'clock. If you have any questions prior, go ahead and put them in the chat box. If not, we'll sit here and sew for a little bit. Oh, what's behind me? I'm sure that'll be a question. My studio is being renovated, and I've had to move out into the main part of the basement for now. And well, I have a farm also, so this is part of last year's bounty, and we buy in bulk, and so that's kind of like our pantry. What am I making? Well, I have a client who wanted a custom garment. I am felling the seam on one of the panels for the skirt part of the dress. Yes, by hand. Does hand stitching give better results than using the sewing machine? I used a sewing machine for everything for a very long time. And then I started doing some couture work. And I found, honestly, that for the most part, unless they're really just like, I did use the machine to sew the panels together. However, to sew the seams down, you get a much softer, more gentle closing of the seams than if you used a machine. Machines are hard and heavy, and they leave imprints in the fabric that can't always be removed. Well, no, my clock says 2 more minutes yet. But if you have more questions, we can ask them as they come up. You're very welcome. No, my clock says 2 o'clock. So, welcome to the first uh, live question and answer for Lucky 7 Studios. I plan to do a live Q&A once a month, possibly on the same day of the week and about the same time. I will provide the next date in the newsletter and on all our socials. I thank you for visiting. If you have questions or comments or anything. If not, well, I'll sit here and sew and tell me what you want to know. Do I dye the fabric if I can't find the right color? I have. It's possible. This is actually a custom dye that I'm working on. I think it turned out very well. It ended up being a little bit of a marbled. Some places are lighter in the fabric and some places are darker. I think it gives character to the originality. There will never be another color like this. So it truly is a custom. Let's see, Lucky 7 Studios. We have three main, well, we're a custom clothing and design company, and we have 3 areas that we focus. We focus on historic recreations, which is what I'm working on here. By historic recreations, it can be exactly down to the stitch, everything by hand, or some machine and some hand, or all machine. The choice is yours in the end. We create 2 collections a year. We do a fall winter and a spring summer. In fact, the fall winter 2021 collection will be released the beginning of May. The spring summer 2022 will be released live in August. I may live stream that. We also focus on couture, which is more high end in the techniques used for couture garments compared to historic recreations are very different. So there are 2 different types of things. You may also have heard the word bespoke. Bespoke is often heard with tailoring and dressmaking. It's still couture. It is all custom from top to bottom. And the 4th one is custom. I guess we do custom in general, which is where we take your ideas, your dreams, and we make them a reality. We start with a sketch and go from there. All our garments, all our costumes are made. They're made for, other than the collections, they're made directly for the client. So they would be your measurements, and there would only be one of a kind. They are all absolutely one of a kind. They're tailored just for you. Yes, they are absolutely unique, one of a kind. This particular garment that I'm working on is a reproduction of Elizabeth Bennett's dress from the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. I think it's 2005. It's like a jumper and the shirt underneath. It's like the top is a vest and the skirt comes out and flows around. The garment is made specifically for one client. We begin with, I started with just some basic sketches, looking at all the photos I could find online, even watched some other dressmakers and historical recreators and how they made this particular dress, and they were not to sound better than them, but they missed a few key pieces in the reconstruction of the ones that they did. So by looking at the design in as many photos and directions as possible, I sat and I did some just basic garment sketches. And from that, I began with the client's measurements and began working on drafting the patterns. I drafted the patterns on dot paper first to work out any design and construction details that may have been before they went to a large scale. Working on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is easier than working on a full-size pattern paper in the beginning stages. And then from the small scale, I scaled up to usable size pattern pieces, and each pattern piece is created specifically for one client. See, I've been sewing since I was about 5. I started sewing with my grandmother, and she would give me, well, I guess the piece that everybody remembers that I did was I had a Kermit the Frog. Yeah, I had a crocheted Kermit the Frog doll that I carried everywhere. I loved them. So we had Ace Would play, and I made him his own costume. I laid him down on the floor on top of the fabric. I cut the fabric out around him, and then I sewed it together. And he was in the play at school. My love of sewing continued. I didn't sew a lot when I was in junior high and high school. However, as an adult, I began to sew more, and I decided to start my own business because why not do what you love? Does anybody have any other questions? Do I always cut a muslin or a practice before I cut the fashion fabric? It depends. If I've worked with a client before and I have their general measurements, no. But most often, yes. I would make a muslin before I would cut the fashion fabric. That way, then all the other details can be worked out before you waste your fabric, and that can get expensive. Is my work guaranteed? The workmanship is guaranteed as long as you wear it like you should. If I make a couture skirt and you go out and build a house and the seams rip out, well, probably not, but it shouldn't fall apart anyway. But if the garments are used as they're made for. I'll wait about 5 more minutes and we'll see if anybody has any more questions. And if not, we'll wrap it up. As part of, if you were to, let's see, the process to, from start to finish is you would contact us, me, and we would talk about what you're looking for. I would then put some sketches together, and from that, the sketches, you would approve them or not if they're acceptable. And once those would be acceptable, we move forward, and I would provide you with a estimate and a contract. Which would include the cost, the labor cost, and the cost of the fabrics and other necessities, materials needed to make the garment. Sometimes that would be included in the price altogether. As part of that also is a timeline that is not set in stone. Life does happen. However, if we were to be too far outside of that timeline, we would contact you and let you know right away. I look forward to seeing those emails. I did hear a little bit of chatter about wanting an idea of what the collection looks like that will be coming out in May. Let me see, I should have somewhere here. Like I said, I am temporarily removed from my studio. You should be able to find a sketch to give you an idea, at least a general idea of what's to come. If I can find the full sketch. It must be somewhere else. Let me see if I have it over here. Should be in here for sure. I knew it was here. I thought it was. Ha. It's not a very good picture, and not all of these will be in the collection that comes out. But this is kind of what's coming. I'm excited to work on that and excited to show it when it's all complete and ready to go. Are there any more questions, comments? Anything you would like to see or know? Well, it's 2:21. If there aren't any more questions, comments, or anything, I guess we'll wrap this up. If my computer will work. They're great till they don't. So if you're not subscribed already to the channel, please do so. That way you know exactly when things will be coming out, and even as soon as they're listed that they're coming, you will know first before anybody on the socials. And maybe there may be a special something in the comment section just for you guys. I thank you all for your time. If you want to follow along on our socials, just search for Lucky 7 Studios. And I thank you and see you next time.